Coverage there on Capitol Hill, Shannon.
All right, let's bring in one of the lawmakers who's going to ask those questions today on the Hill, Senator James Lankford, Senate Intelligence Committee member. And sir, thank you for your time today. I want to make sure to save plenty of time for a religious freedom issue that is critical, that's getting lost in some of these headlines. But to the headlines first, what will be your question? What is your key inquiry you have for Senator Jeff Sessions, former senator, now AJ?
Sure, now Attorney General. There's really three issues that have come up. One is that did he have any conversations with Russians? The accusation has been there that at that time, Senator Sessions, anytime he met with, was in a room with, passed by a Russian leader or the Russian ambassador, that should be brought up for a questioning. Quite frankly, that's a little absurd to say if there was any conversation, any passing. Was there any planning or collusion? Obviously, that's a legitimate issue. Was there any just passing conversations? Senators have passing conversations with people all the time. What was his role in the firing of James Comey? Was there any Russia connection to that directly is an obvious question. And the departure of James Comey, of anything that happened during that time period as well. All of those are pertinent questions to be able to get the full facts out. And I'm glad Jeff is coming to be able to lay some of those things out because quite frankly, the Attorney General was around some of those things. He can clear the whole thing up by getting a chance to lay out those conversations.
What about the representations that the former FBI director made last week, that he actually expressed concern saying, don't leave me alone with the president, those kinds of things? Will you probe those conversations as well?
That should be probed. Quite frankly, when that came out, I thought that was an odd statement for Jim Comey to make because it leaves the impression that Sessions was trying to. Sessions was in the room waiting with Comey when the president said he wanted Comey to stay. So Sessions did exactly what he should have done as his boss, Bill remained as well. And the president asked everyone else to leave but Comey. That's not a position that Jeff Sessions can say to the president, no, I'm going to stay. And so I understand it. I'm waiting to be able to see what Jeff Sessions comes back to that. But Jeff is not going to be able to say to Comey, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to leave you alone with the president. If the president says he wants to meet alone with somebody, you're going to allow the president to be able to meet with someone alone. So that's not the issue. And this whole conversation about this was Russia related, it seemed fairly apparent from Comey's testimony last week that the president asked him 3 times to say publicly what he said privately, and Comey refused to say, you're not under investigation publicly. He would only say it privately to the president. And then at some point, apparently the president said, I'm going to move on. Now, that's not really Russia related in the sense that he's trying to quash the investigation, but it seemed to be a frustration of the president that Comey will say one thing privately and another thing not say publicly. So we'll allow this all to come out.
All right, I want to turn to a hearing last week that didn't get much attention because of all the other big headlines that we have. This involves Senator Sanders questioning somebody who is a nominee for Deputy Director of the Office of Management and Budget, really pushing him on his Christian faith and what that means to his ability to serve in a government position. Here's a bit of their interchange.
Are you suggesting that all of those people stand condemned? What about Jews? They stand condemned too?
Senator, I'm a Christian.
I understand you are a Christian, but this country is made up of people who are not just. I understand that Christianity is the majority religion, but there are other people who have different religions in this country and around the world.
And Senator Senator Sanders there said this is not the kind of guy that we want serving in our government. What did you make of that dust-up?
Yeah, that was a pretty chilling statement from Senator Sanders to say basically this person's not qualified to be able to serve in government. Article 6 of the Constitution says there's no religious test and there's no qualification for any officer or any person serving in the public trust. That can't be required to say, I want to know more about your religion before you get into this public setting. The person that he was actually interviewing is being nominated is for an accounting role within the Office of Management and Budget and an economic role. But basically Senator Sanders was saying, I know you're applying for some of the economics, but because you're a Christian, that you can't also then serve in government. The teachings of it that he was trying to say, and all he was trying to quote was John 3:18. So the implication is you can be a Christian and serve in government as long as you don't believe in the teachings of Jesus. And those two things are inconsistent.
Quickly, should he apologize or resign?
No, Sanders should not. He should apologize, but he shouldn't resign. Again, that would be putting a religious test the other direction to say that you're opposed to a certain religion. He should apologize to him, and he should just make a clear statement. I'm not trying to put a religious test on people. People can believe what they want to believe in their faith. That doesn't preclude them from also serving in government.
All right, Senator Lankford will be watching the hearings this afternoon. Thank you so much for your time.
Great, thank you.
Amid all